Welcome to the Noob-Proof God Guide for Atlas, Titan of the Cosmos. I'll be going over his mechanics, utilities, his astrolabe, and what he brings to a team. I'll also cover his abilities and provide tips you'll be able to apply in your next match. Item builds and conquest specific strategies will be avoided as these tend to change quite frequently. Feel free to skip to any part of this video that fits your needs. Roll the intro. Atlas is part of the Guardian class. He deals magical damage and is typically seen in the support role, but has seen success in solo and surprisingly the mid lane as well. His large area of effect abilities with both defensive and offensive capabilities, coupled with his displacement crowd control, enables him to peel, zone objectives, set up for kill potential, cleanse allies, and even debuff enemies in a single team fight. This Titan holds the weight of the world on his shoulders, carrying his team to victory. Passive, the Astrolabe. As Atlas takes damage from gods, or when he deals damage, he accumulates energy in his Astrolabe. Minions provide a fraction of the energy. When he accumulates enough energy, his next basic attack has increased damage and swing time. It also deals bonus damage in an area in front of him. Enemy gods that are hit by this basic attack are trembled, while minions are stunned. Ability number 1, Unburdened. Atlas throws his astrolabe to a target location, damaging and slowing enemies where it lands. While deployed, his basic attacks will cause an explosion in the target area that damages all enemies, but does not trigger item effects. This explosion deals less damage to minions and costs a tiny portion of mana per basic attack. After a short time, or when he refires the ability, the astrolabe will return to him. Atlas's second ability changes based on whether his astrolabe is deployed or being held. Ability number 2, Gravity Pull. Atlas pulls his enemies towards his astrolabe. If Atlas is holding the astrolabe, he becomes immune to knockups, and enemies who are close enough get pulled into the astrolabe and are held in front of Atlas. After a brief delay, the targets held get launched into the direction that Atlas is facing. If the astrolabe is deployed, enemies close enough to the center will get held briefly at the astrolabe's location before being launched towards Atlas. Ability number 3, Kinetic Charge. Atlas charges forward, damaging minions and cleansing himself with slows. Each allied god he charges near will have their burdens removed, cleansing them of any current slows and increasing their movement speed. When Atlas collides with an enemy god, he will release accumulated burdens in an explosion, slowing enemies in a radius. For every burden accumulated, the slows increase up to a maximum of 75%. Atlas is immune to slows and knockups while charging. Ability number 4, the ultimate, Gamma Ray Burst. Atlas tears the sky asunder and calls forth a gamma ray burst. Enemies in this area are hit, taking damage over time, and receiving stacks of radiation. Each stack of radiation lowers the enemy's protection and power. After a short while, or upon refiring, the gamma ray burst will focus its power and begin traveling across the battleground. Enemies hit by this focused ray take heavier damage and gain multiple stacks of radiation. The following is based on years of personal experience. Every player has their own style and preferences, and that's alright. If you disagree with any of them, feel free to let us know. We try to keep an open mind, and as always, we're willing to learn together to get better at the game that we love. Atlas's first ability, Unburden, scales up in damage and slow strength while reducing its cooldown. It is a fantastic poking and zoning tool. His second ability, Gravity Pull, increases his damage when points are added. His third ability, Kinetic Charge, is his highest damaging ability, but it is single target. However, its damage and movement speed buffs for allies increase per level. Whenever possible, put points in the ultimate. That being said, here's our recommended level up order. Tip number 1. Empowered Basic. As you play Atlas, you may see his passive meter begin spinning, meaning you have accrued enough energy to use an Empowered Basic attack. This Empowered Basic can only be casted while you're holding your Astrolabe, and will consume the charge regardless of whether you hit an enemy or not. Try to save your Empowered Basic attack until an enemy is close enough to take the hit. Tip number 2. Space Control. Atlas's first ability, Unburden, places a lengthy area of effect that threatens to deal damage or displace enemies with gravity pull. This can be helpful for blocking off jungle passages or for preventing enemies from chasing you through it. Use your first ability to zone enemies frequently in fights. Also, make sure to recall his Astrolabe when it is no longer serving any value being deployed, as it will not go on cooldown until you do so. Tip number 3. Grab and Throw. Atlas's gravity pull is his most complex ability, but also his most powerful. Enemies will want to stay far away from you or risk being pulled into your Astrolabe. Try baiting targets close enough to your tower and turning the tables by dashing at them, grabbing them with gravity pull, and tossing them into the tower range or towards your teammates. On the flip side, if you are trying to peel for your teammates, simply pick up the enemy god and carry them away. Tip number 4. Speed Boost. Kinetic Charge is a valuable tool against gods with slowing abilities. It may make sense to wait until your teammates are slowed before casting, as this ability only cleanses slows and does not provide immunity for your teammates. However, since it does provide movement speed to your team, it can be used for both chasing enemies or running away, giving you flexibility in how you can use it. Tip number 5. Global Ultimate. Atlas's ultimate ability, Gamma Ray Burst, has a couple unique properties to it. First off, when you refire the ability, it travels endlessly across the map through all obstacles, dealing damage to anyone caught in its path. This provides the opportunity to confirm distant kills or steal faraway objectives. And secondly, the direction it travels is parallel to the direction your camera is facing, so it may take a few tries to get used to how you control the direction it travels. This ability's damage numbers are actually quite low. Its debuff provides more value than the damage alone. It's great to be used in teamfights to claim a zone. Tip number 6. Countering Atlas. Atlas struggles against characters with knock-up immunity or leaps in their kit. His second ability, Gravity Pull, is an excellent tool, but has a wind-up and is easy to anticipate. Even though he has multiple other tools at his disposal to still be valuable, opponents that dive your backline with these are difficult to peel off. Thor with his Berserker Barrage or Guan Yu with his Talos Assault are just two examples of gods that Atlas struggles to peel against. We hope this video has proved useful and that you'll be able to apply what you've learned in your next match. If you've enjoyed the content, please let us know in the comments below. You can also follow us on Twitter or join the Cabbage Corp Discord down in the description below, where we share Smite knowledge and cabbages. Thank you so much again for watching, and we hope to see you all on the battleground.